Hello there, 8th grade. I've got a super short video for you just to cover the main topic of section 922. You've got this section is called the Pythagorean Theorem. At this point in the year, I don't expect you to master this, but if you see this now, it's going to save you some headache when you hit freshman year. This will occur later on where you're going to be given a problem and you're going to be like, oh man, when is that? It's a triangle and then this thing, and there is this theorem by this famous dead Greek dude called Pythagoras. It is called the Pythagorean Theorem. It's very easy, it's very useful, and it's very straightforward. And it works something like this. If you are given a right triangle specifically, and again, focus on, the details to this. If you are given a right triangle, then you can solve for a missing side when you know two of them. Okay? You can find any side if you know two others. It's very powerful, it's very useful. If you have anybody in your family that does carpentry or does woodworking or tries to build things, there's a framing rule called a 3-4-5 rule. It involves right triangles, and people use that often. Now, the idea is very simple. If I know these two sides, 5 and 12 for example, I could find the missing length. And this will work for any right triangle where you know two sides. So I want to look at this formula here. It's very simple, it's very interesting, and in this case they've got these three sides labeled. You've got the leg A, which is the first leg, and A and B doesn't matter. So the first leg is one of the legs. You've got another leg, again, doesn't matter which leg you're talking about here. And then you have a third side which has a special name called a hypotenuse. Hypotenuse is always the longest side, and it's always very easy to find. And anytime you're doing this, don't automatically assume that your unknown value is the hypotenuse, because it won't always be. The hypotenuse is always this third value on the right side. And I like to do this where here's your right angle. If I pretended this was a nice little tiny arrow pointing at one of the three sides and then asked you, which of the three sides is it pointing to? You're probably going to tell me it was this one. Makes sense. So this arrow is pointing to that third side. So the arrow is pointing at the hypotenuse, which is the right angle pointing to the hypotenuse of your shape. So now you can go through and you can use this formula. It reads like this. It's usually shortened. Usually you don't write out the legs A and leg B. Usually you list out sides A, B, and C, and then your formula reads A squared plus B squared is equal to C squared. Fun fact, this is also the formula that if you ever ask somebody to say, hey, give me a formula you remember from math, most people will just say A squared plus B squared equals C squared, and then have no idea what it's for or how to use it. Some people will though. So let's go back to our original problem that was up there where it had a triangle with a 5, a 12, and then an unknown length x. Using this formula, these are my legs, so I would put 5 squared plus 12 squared is equal to, and then this is an x squared. Okay, 5 squared is 25, 12 squared is 144 equals to x squared, and I get 169 is equal to x squared. And the trick to solving a squared problem is to use the square root. Okay, the square roots go away and I get that x is equal to 13. very easy to find, very easy to do, and what's cool is that you can picture it visually as like this is 9 squared, this is 34, or this was 9 because this side was 3. This side's harder to find because it was like the square root of 34. But all you have to do is 9 squared plus 34, 9 plus 34. I hate this problem. We're skipping that one. Nope, don't like that example. Ignore it. Forget I even talked about that one. What you want to do is you want to practice these sorts of things. So in this case, my two legs are 3 and 11. So 3 squared plus 11 squared equals this unknown value squared. Okay, 9 plus 121 equals x squared. 130 is equal to x squared. And in your calculator, you could find the square root of that, or you could just leave this side as the square root of 130. If you can do this in your calculator, fantastic. This one's a little bit weird because your leg is your unknown, and then you've got a 4, so you could write x squared plus 4 squared is equal to 25 squared. And I skipped ahead, equals to 5 squared. So this is x squared plus 16 is equal to 25, or in other words, x squared is equal to 9. By subtracting 16, and then ask yourself, what number squared makes 9? The answer is x equals 3. So try a couple of these, see what you can do. And again, if you guys need homework help, swing by my office hours and ask for help. See you guys 8th grade.